You've probably seen this clip already. But if you haven't, let me show you the robot the internet is calling the most pathetic bot of 2025. On stage, there's a humanoid robot from Russia called AIdol. It's literally being held up by two staff members, one on each side. And then, the robot takes a few shaky steps, turns to wave at the audience, and its center of gravity just disappears. It tips forward and face plants on stage. Parts from the head pop off and scatter across the floor. A staff member rushes over, yanks it back up, and the robot's face screen shows this expression that's somehow both painfully honest and unbelievably awkward. And then it gets even more surreal. Someone runs out with a giant black curtain, throws it over the robot, and drags the whole thing off stage like they're cleaning up a crime scene. This is not a meme, not a prank. This was the official promo video released by the company itself, announcing Russia's first AI humanoid robot. We're used to seeing robots doing crazy demos, backflips, parkour, runway walks. So when people saw this one just eat the floor, the internet kind of lost it. It's 2025. How is a robot still this bad? I got curious, started digging into it, and the deeper I went, the more wrong it felt. By the end, I was honestly shocked. Because 10 years ago, Russia was nothing like this in robotics. Do you remember a robot called FEDOR? Back in 2015, FEDOR could drive a car, pick locks, use power tools, and even dual-wield pistols and hit targets accurately. Yeah, that guy. Sure, it was remote-controlled at the time, not running on giant foundation models like today. But if you look at how many humanoid labs still train robots now, the methods aren't actually that far away from what FEDOR was doing. In 2019, FEDOR was sent to the International Space Station, one of the very few humanoid robots ever launched into space. Now, compare that era to the US and China. Boston Dynamics was still doing snow walking and push tests. Tesla Optimus? It didn't show up until 2022. China's Unitree and Ubitech only really went global after 2019. So if FEDOR had just kept iterating at a normal pace, by 2025, it could totally have been a serious rival to Optimus. But that's not what happened. 10 years later, while the US and China are racing on who builds the smartest robot, FEDOR has basically vanished. Russia's humanoid scene went from world-class, went to space, to falls over on stage and gets covered with a blanket. So what went wrong? I kept digging, and the picture that came out of the last decade was way uglier than I expected. I think of it as three cuts that hit Russian civilian tech, especially AI and robotics. Cut 1, talent. Russia's tech brain drain actually started around 2014. At first it was noticeable, but not massive. But after 2022, when the war began, it turned into a full-on exodus. AI engineers, robotics experts, chip designers, they left in waves. And here's the thing about humanoid robots. You don't build them out of metal, you build them out of engineers. No top engineers, no iteration. It really is that simple. Cut 2, chips. After 2022, Russia lost access to high-end AI GPUs, 7 nanometer, 10 nanometer chips, advanced sensors, servo drives, precision motors. And a humanoid robot basically lives on three things: good motors, good control systems, good compute. All three got choked off. So now you're asking a country with no high-end motors, no serious compute, no good servos, to build a next-gen humanoid. That robot falling on stage? Honestly, that's the expected outcome. Cut 3, companies hollowed out. You've probably heard of Yandex, often called Russia's Google, and once home to one of the best self-driving stacks in the world. Then sanctions hit. The company got split up, parts sold off or frozen, projects shut down, engineers poached or gone. If the flagship tech company ends up like that, what do you think happens to smaller robotics startups? Put these three cuts together, and suddenly, AIdol's stage disaster makes a lot more sense. So I went one level deeper and looked at the company behind the robot. That part was almost unbelievable. AIdol's parent company, AIdol LLC, capital, 10,000 rubles, about $100 US, registered at a virtual office address shared with more than 200 other companies. And the founder's background? Almost nothing you can actually verify. The company was about 3.5 months old when it announced, "Yeah, we've built a humanoid robot." In a normal ecosystem, that would sound like a miracle startup story. In today's hollowed-out Russian tech environment, it feels a lot more like self-consolation. At this point, you might be thinking, if civilian AI is this bad, how come Russian military AI looks so strong? Things like the Lancet loitering munitions, battlefield image recognition, automatic targeting systems. Those clearly work. So what's going on? Is this some weird situation where civilian tech collapses while military tech gets better? It's not really collapse, it's reallocation. Under sanctions and war, Russia has been forced to pull almost all remaining AI engineers, compute resources, chips, and funding away from civilian projects and pour them into military AI. Civilian companies can't hire. Military projects, on the other hand, can offer money, hardware, and absolute priority. So you end up with this very strange picture. The thing that falls on stage is the civilian robot. The things that keep evolving are the drones and targeting systems over the battlefield. AIdol's fall wasn't just an accident. It's a visible symptom of something deeper, a civilian tech ecosystem that's been drained to feed a much bigger military machine. And there's one question I can't stop thinking about. If there had been no sanctions, no tech isolation, and if FEDOR, the robot that once went to space, had been allowed to keep evolving for 10 straight years, would it be competing with Tesla Optimus today? Or maybe, would it have become so strong that it wouldn't have any real competitors at all?